Howdy folks, Dr. Panda here, coming at you today with a vintage cube draft. The Phantom Swiss is online now. I was doing a league, doing some practice leagues and everything, and I'm not particularly good at vintage cube, so I spent a lot of time practicing, and one of my practice drafts and games were really fun and really cool. Shows the upside of vintage cube. Unfortunately, Magic Online did not save the deck list, so I'll show you the sweet cards as they come up. You see most of them, so it's not too big of a deal, but otherwise, can use the nifty replay function as part of Magic Online. If you go to your account and game history, you can see all the games you played and go from there. So this is the first match, first game. The interface is a little tricky, so you gotta stay with me. So this opening hand, I liked a lot. You can immediately see my plan with this draft deck. I will tell you, I first picked a channel, and then later on picked up a sneak attack and a through the breach, and then picked up Emrakul and some other fun biggies, and was like, well, let's run this. Let's run this stuff. This is pretty fun. This first hand would have been pretty good if I had drawn a couple lands, but couldn't count on that, so I mulliganed. This first hand, however, enough acceleration that I wasn't too worried. If they had bolted one of the elves or something, would be pretty sad, but not too much going on, but enough early interaction that and enough acceleration getting Huntmaster online that I figured it'd be okay, be alright. It's a sketchy keep, definitely, but when I was like, can't be too bad. So found a mountain, scried the mountain to the top. Pass the turn. Opponent suspends Ancestral Vision. I didn't play Elf turn 1 because I knew I was going to draw the mountain. I was like, well, that's probably more important. I'm not playing anything turn anything major turn 2 anyway. I just get a lot of green mana, so I was like, oh wait, turn 2. That was probably a good time to check it. I'm still getting used to this interface, by the way, and you can't go back, so we'll have to wait for another fetch to check out some of the neat stuff in the deck. But anyway, play Wall of Roots, and then play Elvish Mystic, which is probably the better anyway. Opponent's Ancestral ticks down. Play a Temple of Milady. Nothing major. Draw Dismember. Decide now is a better time than any to play Huntmaster of the Fells. Get a Wolf. They kind of fart around. Play an Orzhov Signet. And then I draw Ancient Grudge. And this is why I love this. They play Orzhov Signet, Ancient Grudge. I could not kill that any faster. Aside from I attack first, because that makes more sense. But then get rid of the Signet. In Vintage Cube, there's a lot of Signets and artifact fast mana, and have been wisely told that Ancient Grudge is a really good card against those types of things, and just kind of in general because of all the prevalence of it in the cube, that I was like, well, better grab it, and was impressive. So now just kind of full on swing, attack for 8, no big deal. Really nothing else to do. Holding up Incinerate. Opponent gets Ancestral Vision. So they draw 3 cards. Play a Shardless Agent. And they're dead. So that was game 1. We'll get to game 2 shortly. Alright, here we are for game 2. Opening hand, Ulamog was my second choice. So turn 1, pick 1, pack 1 channel. Pick 2, pack 1 Ulamog. And I was like, Ulamog's pretty good, but nothing like insane in the membrane. I was like, alright. Fire Confluence I like a lot. Nissa I like a lot. Sylvan Library I like a lot. This hand I kept off of the power of Sylvan Library alone, pretty much. I was like, well, opponent suspends Ancestral Vision for the second game in a row. Just a forest. Opponent this game is pretty gnarly. They play Orzhov Signet again. Draw a Mox Pearl. Also, third pick was Mox Pearl. So, channel Ulamog into Mox Pearl. Which I was like, I don't know why Mox Pearl went third pick. But, oh well. So then just yield Sylvan Library. Ancestral goes down. They have Ancestral Vision and Ancestral Recall, which made me really jealous. And a Mishra's Workshop. Bonus deck was interesting. So now they play Burrow Signet and immediately draw Ancient Grudge, which is just play well, get rewarded. That's the that's the basis. Is you just have to be really good at Magic, and that's pretty much the game. Like, just be good, and good things will come your way. Which is sarcasm, in case you're wondering. So, get rid of one of the signets. Get rid of the other signet. Play Mountain. Because I'm pretty interested in the Forest to play Nissa. So now with their mana base destroyed, opponent impulses. See Windswept Heath and Master of the Wild Hunt. Figure I don't really need more lands, so I keep the Heath to shuffle away, which is where Sylvan Library is spectacular. So shuffle away the land. Get a land. I'll yield Nissa. I didn't want to expose any lands to destruction quite yet. Opponent's Ancestral comes off, which is why I just untapped them. Didn't really make too much of a difference. Opponent gets even more cards. At this point I'm thinking, man, like, they've gotten so much value. And then they play a Memory Jar. And I'm thinking, Ancestral Recall, Vision, Signets, Impulse. So it's like the workshop's a little weird, but I was like, this guy's trying to storm off. I was like, I'm just dead to Memory Jar. Like, I'm just gonzo. I'm drawing a Nahiri. Decide, don't need the planes. Don't really need the elves. I'm just going to play Nahiri because what's better than one planeswalker? Two planeswalkers. Boop. They're both really good. I really liked my hand. Didn't see any reason to do anything about it. Now, at least I'll get an attack in. I could have Fiery Confluenced. I guess I'll talk about it now. I was thinking, if this survives, I'm just dead. Like, just straight up dead. But it just didn't really seem like the opponent was doing much. Like, sure, maybe they storm off next turn and kill me, and that'd really suck, and I'd be sad. But I decided to risk it because I was like, if they are playing more if they have enough artifacts for Workshop, Fiery Confluence, if you don't know, you choose 3 modes, and you can choose them more than once. So deal 1 damage to each creature, deal 2 damage to each opponent, or destroy target artifact. I figure, wait, and maybe I can get another artifact or something. So I don't really want to blow my Fiery Confluence just to get rid of the memory jar quite yet. So I'd rather risk a turn. Like, they're not doing anything, so who knows. They play a Shardless Agent and get a Spellskite. And I'm ecstatic at this point, because they're not storming off to kill me. And they Phantasmal Image my forest, and this is a really interesting interaction. So they Phantasmal Image my forest. They have Phantasmal Image enter the battlefield as a copy of forest, because they're copying the creature. A very weird interaction. They're copying the creature, which the forest is a creature. However, it doesn't have the ability that it's a 4/4 elemental creature with trample. Like, it hasn't been made it. So instead, it just becomes a regular forest, which my opponent was hoping to get a 4/4, but they weren't aware of that interaction. So if you try and clone an animated land, you end up with just a land. Like, you don't get anything special out of it. So I didn't have that interaction in mind. I thought they were kind of like, get another Spellskite or something. Or I thought for a second, I was like, they might get a 4/4. I'm not entirely sure how that works, but that is a ruling. So then I'm like, I don't want to draw the Findhorn Elves. So now's a good time to see all the stuff. So Through the Breach, Terastodon was another good one I picked up. Sundry Titan, really good one I picked up. Bunch of Mana Dorks, and then just kind of stuff. Channel, Emrakul, which you saw. A bunch of stuff that kind of let me dirtle until I hit some of these things, which I would then just hopefully go off. So I pick up Through the Breach. So now I Through the Breach Ulamog, but he does have the memory jar. So an interesting interaction here. Through the Breach says you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. Gains haste, sack that creature at the beginning of the next end step. So if I were to play Through the Breach, in response, my opponent can memory jar, and then I can't put Ulamog into play. I have to put something from the new 7. And it's likely there could have been something, but there was likely that it wasn't, and then this would fizzle. So here I decide, well, I want Through the Breach and Ulamog in the same hand, because if he cracks it this turn, then memory jar, you exile the cards in your hand, draw 7, and then you discard 7, and then return the ones in your hand back. So as long as these are in your hand to begin with, then you get them back. Which I was like, Through the Breach, Ulamog, pretty good. So now, the fun of Fiery Confluence, decide to just destroy all of these. Because now that he didn't storm off last turn, I see he's kind of more of a dirtler. The Shardless Agent also kind of tipped me off last time. It was like, maybe he's just Artifacts Matter or something. Maybe he's not quite Storm. But I was like, I don't want the opponent to have the option of Memory Jar. And now that I got a little greedy, got rewarded, got a few targets, and I was like, alright. So instead, opponent cracks Memory Jar. Not entirely sure why, because it doesn't really benefit them, like, at all. So destroy their stuff. And now I'm like, alright, I haven't played a land. So now I can play land. Use Nissa. Instead of attacking in, I decided to go the more value route and play out this cool stuff in my hand. The sneak attack. I don't play out sneak attack this time, but play out the scavenging ooze. I actually don't want the Elvish Mystic, so use Nahiri to grab it so that I pitch Elvish Mystic end of turn, and then get these guys back. So now I'm feeling pretty good. Opponent's got 6 cards in hand, but I'm way ahead on board. So opponent Shriek Maws. Kill Scavenging Ooze. I'm like, sure, I'm gonna Ulamog you next turn. So I'm not too worried about this. Phyrexian Metamorph to Shriekmaw, which kills the land. I'm like, this is cool. I don't know how much I care. But like, yeah, whatever, you know. Do what you want, man. Play the forest off the top of my library. At this point, I'm like, oh yeah, I can ultimate Nahiri and get Emrakul. Because that's a fair and balanced type of play. Isn't Cube fun? And I'm like, you know what? I've got Emrakul, but what does Emrakul need? She needs a buddy. So then I threw the Breach Ulamog and say, there you go. So at this point, I'm ecstatic because that is exactly how I wanted the deck to go. I was like, that was awesome. That's everything I wanted out of the deck. Sneak in big Eldrazi into play, killing opponents, like, it's all good. So that's match 1. See you back for match 2. Dr. Panda back. Here we are for match 2. So this starting hand, turn 1 Elves into turn 2 Courser. I have a channel in case I draw like an Eldrazi or something. Master of the Wild Hunt, turn 3. I was like, this hand is just super good. And I'm on the play. Opponent rolls to 6. I was like, life is good right now. Opponent plays an island. And then I draw Sundering Titan. I'm like, oh buddy. Oh buddy. Should I do it? And the answer is almost always yes. So then Sundering Titan, kill the opponent's island, get rid of my forest because I have to, play a forest, and now opponent's been set back a turn and I have a 7/10 on the battlefield. I'm like, alright, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Attack with 7/10, play the Courser. Pretty straightforward turn. Opponent force spikes the Courser. Forgot about that. And I was like, sure, man. I got a Sundering Titan, but whatever you want. Attack with Sundering Titan. Play Master of the Wild Hunt. Opponent attacks to try and loot. See if they can't get out of it. And they were pretty dead. Even if they managed to kill Sundering Titan, then I shoot down their stuff. Next turn, get rid of the looter with Master of the Wild Hunt. Play Wall of Roots, go from there. And that was the short and dirty game 1. Channel into Sundering Titan turn 2. Just as fair as it seems. So, see you for the second game of this match. Alright, game 2 of match 2. Pretty decent opening hand. Again, Mana Dork into Courser. Even if they kill the Mana Dork, I can still get a Courser. They go turn 1 Deathrite Shaman. I'm like, yeah, alright. Play out the Elvish Mystic. Just because I suppose I'd rather have the Mystic die than the Noble Hierarch. Opponent gets some mana. Plays a Vidalcan Shackles. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, that was... Okay, I will admit I've had some spectacular draws. Each game within the first couple of turns drew exactly what I needed to make the hand amazing. But that's the fun of Magic. Sometimes you get screwed over constantly and nothing fun ever happens to you. And other times you get situations like this where things are great and you couldn't be happier. So there's my red mana. Play Mox Pearl. Play a Nahiri. And get rid of the Deathrite Shaman. Now, Vidalcan Shackles. Gain control target creature with power less than or equal to the number of islands you control for as long as it remains tapped. Wouldn't have done too much versus the Mystic, so opponent plays Looter Core. I'm like, okay. I was like, I'll play Courser. I was like, I don't think you should have Looter Core because that's a good card. So decided to get rid of it. And that's when the opponent scoops. Did not want to attempt to play past what I had going on. Had a lot going on early. I think they quit pretty early, but if they couldn't beat through the breach, I don't know what was coming up next, but it was likely we would find something, and the game would probably be over after that. So that's how it goes. But yeah, those were the quick first couple of matches, so check you guys for match 3. Dr. Panda here with match 3 of the Vintage Cube. This hand, again, keep on the strength of Sylvan Library with Channel, and I'm like, ooh, or I could just turn to Sundering Titan with Channel. Opponent plays 2 colored lands and a Mox. I'm like, oof. Grixis? Okay. Then I play Compulsive Research. I'm like, that's a good card, but I'm going to take away 2 of your lands. Channel. Sundering Titan. Boom. Things were looking great for me. I was like, oh yeah. Turn 2 Sundering Titan. Can you beat it? They play Temple of Malice. Like, not looking good for opponent. I play Sylvan Library. I'm thinking, man, this is great. This is just wonderful. With Compulsive Research, note right now, with Compulsive Research, they chose to get rid of Sheoldred and Myr Battlesphere. And then they play Exhume. Really nothing I could do about it to get Sheoldred. And Sheoldred makes me sacrifice. So all I do is now sacrifice Forest. And don't really have anything. 3 lands pretty much. I was like, I'll play Courser. On their turn, they get back Myr Battlesphere, and I'm like, oh, well, what's fair is fair. I got to turn to Sundering Titan. They got to turn 4 Sheoldred, and I had no answers. So I was like, well, good for them, good for them. All right, be back in a sec with game 2. Game 2 here. I was like, well, this hand isn't the most amazing thing, but it does have Scavenging Ooze, which should be pretty good. I go Creeping Tar Pit. I'm like, well, I'll just go Wall of Roots. Give me more mana for later. They do nothing. So I'm like, well, I can dirtle on the Scavenging Ooze a little bit more. Hopefully they'll, counter or kill something, so I don't have to worry about it for when I try and play Scavenging Ooze. Just kind of slow rolling the ooze for now. I'm like, oh, here it comes. Then they play Magus of the Wheel, which is a pretty good card. Pretty good card. Unfortunately, it is symmetrical, and since I'm emptying my hand as quick as can be, which I promptly decide to do in case he wheels next turn, so I get maximum benefit. Daxian Probes, he's an Inahiri he knew was in my hand. Compulsive Research, and I'm like, alright, this is why I got Scavenging Ooze. Just gets rid of Lava Claw Reaches. I was like, thank goodness. My Scavenging Ooze has survived. Get a land off of Courser. Of course, play Nissa. Get a 4/4 attack in. Pretty much relying on Wall of Roots and Scavenging Ooze to get me through, because I can activate Wall of Roots on my opponent's turn, and that could get rid of something. So I'm like, okay, Reanimator, please don't get rid of these things. And then play Treachery. I'm thinking, maybe you're not full-on Reanimator. Maybe they are. It's like, I don't know. These are good questions. And play Mole Drifter. Can't attack. I'm like, alright, well, play the Plains, which was also a really good top deck there. So I can play Nahiri. And then play the Noble Hierarch. Probably better than a Forest anyway in my hand. Again, keeping empty. So he's discouraged to use the wheel because he has 7 cards in hand. Make a 4/4 to block this guy so that he can't just straight up kill Nahiri. And then what does this guy do? He goes and plays Frost Titan. I'm thinking, oh man. Oh. Please just spare me. Just give me a quick death. And then he attacks Nahiri. Now, I tanked on this one for a long time. Probably a couple minutes. So I was like, I need Nahiri. Because like I'm going to draw a Mox Pearl, and I just cannot beat Frost Titan nor anything else. I was like, I need Nahiri in order to get just a little bit deeper in the deck. Hopefully something's there. So I was like, I can't really lose Nahiri, but I don't really want to lose any of this other stuff. I'm like, alright. I go back and forth. Decide that, as you can see, spent like a full couple of minutes. Full minute with this blocked. Still didn't really know what to do. I was like, alright, I just gotta Wall of Roots gotta bite the bullet. And then I see it. My saving grace. I'm like, oh my god. This is the greatest day of my life. Because I can take out a bunch of the opponent's stuff. I was like, this is amazing, and I'm so happy. So I Sundering Titan, you'll notice I can choose the opponent's forest that is mine that he controls, and then island, island, schwamp. Leave the opponent. Or I guess I chose. I should have chose island. So that one's kind of a mistake on my part. Definitely should have chose the other island. In cube, too many powerful things happen off the back of islands. And then get rid of my planes. Nahiri is the only white card in my deck, so I'm like, I don't give a shit about this plane. Sure. I'm like, okay. Yeah, attack in. Try and deal 8. Opponent blocks with the Magus, which is a good plan because they're not going to use it. Like, they have 6 cards, I have 0. Like, there's no sense in them. I make a forest to block. If opponent attacks with Frost Titan, then they probably tap it down. But I wanted the option. Probably throw away one of my dorks or something. But this part I forgot about, which made this extra nasty. Sundering Titan gets sacked. So now I choose Mountain, Island, Forest. Alright, so I've gotten rid of 3, 4, 6 of my opponent's things with 2 of these triggers and only 2 of my things. So opponent's down 6 lands, I'm down 2. I'm like, okay, I feel better. I'm feeling okay about this game. On islands, anticipates, I'm like, okay, maybe looking for another land, something like that. Kind of figuring they might try attacking, but they don't. And I also have Natural Order on top of my deck. I just get rid of some stuff from their graveyard. I'm like, hex yeah, I'm gonna Natural Order. I'm gonna get Terastodon. Get out of here, you silly thing. Because Terastodon is also a fair card. I was like, I don't need Sneak Attack anymore. I'll turn it into an elephant. It's like, opponent doesn't need lands anymore. I'll turn them into elephants. Take out Nissa. Take out Nahiri. I'm like, pass turn. Opponent, still really no good attacks. Get rid of more things. Get a Huntmaster, which I kind of play just for the lulz. So I'm like, why not? Ultimate Nissa, which I've actually never done before, and it was very fun. So you search for any number of basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield, and they're 4/4s. And then I have Ulamog on top of my library. Gain some amount of life. Attack with Terastodon. And this was an interesting choice. Opponent blocks with all 3. I mean, they're dead anyway, but get rid of that. And then decide not to deal with anything else. Just cleanly attack and kill the opponent. So, actually kind of kudos to this guy for sticking in there. Playing it out sometimes can be, in the face of that, can be kind of annoying. But there is always a chance your opponent makes a mistake, doesn't attack for whatever reason, attacks poorly, just because you're not quitting, you're trying to trip them up. So kudos to that. So that was match 2. So game 2 of our third match. Very exciting. So now on to the very exciting conclusion, game 3 of our last match. See you there. Here are game 3 of the last match. This opening hand does absolutely nothing. Kind of poop. Like, we're not getting to Sundering Titan forever, so it's essentially 6 land, and then Elvish Mystic, which is just a mana dork, so kind of like a 7th land. So I essentially have, or this is a dud, so I have 6 lands and a dud. So I was like, nah, not gonna keep that, brah. This hand, however, is pretty stacked. So I was like, alright, this is what I wanted. Early interaction. It's like, and a sneak attack on top. Perfect. Turn 1 elf. I decide, instead of the Courser, I'd rather get Sylvan Library online first. Courser's very good, but I was like, next turn we can play Courser and get a land. So I was like, I'd rather have Sylvan Library and then get this Elvish Mystic out. Kind of continue the mana acceleration. Opponent Imperial Seals. And now I'm thinking, well, maybe they're going with the Reanimator this time. I don't know. Then I get Wall of Roots and Sundering Titan. And I'm like, well, I'd rather have Sundering Titan in my hand. I don't really need Dismember. I'd rather they didn't really know about the Sundering Titan. And Courser is there, especially if I'm going to play Sneak Attack. So I just pay the 4 life. Also gets me a bit deeper. Play the Courser. I'm thinking, okay, what did opponent get? They play Mox Pearl, Mox Sapphire, no land, Sower of Temptation. I'm thinking, interesting. So they Sower my Courser. Get a swamp off the top. I'm like, that's some good value. It's like, but I do have a Dismember. And then I find the Plains. And I'm like, oh goodness. So I can Dismember and Nahiri. And this turn is gonna be baller. So Dismember the Sower, play the Plains, get some of the life back. Play Nahiri. Now this is where I mess up. So in this situation, 100% of the time, you want to get rid of one of these Moxes. 100%. Like, no question about it. You want to take down. They have no pressure. You want to take down and get rid of one of their mana sources immediately. Because that's just great value. Just like, Walmart brand, great value. I, however, am dumb. So I tick it up and then immediately realized the regret. I was like, I should have ticked this down and killed one of these Moxes. It's like, I am a giant idiot, but that's what it is. Powerful cards, you don't always see the interactions inherent in it. And I was like, oh man, I'm going to get punished for this. Opponent plays Sting in the Ice. I'm like, ooh, that could be really bad. They Faithless Looting. Discard Mold Drifter, Mirror Battlesphere. Thinking, oh man. It's like, okay. If I can somehow get Sneak Attack Sundering Titan, I was like, it's looking a little bit better. A Master of the Fells, a Forest, and Natural Order. So I'm like, So if I Natural Order and they have like Remand or something, like it sucks a lot, but we've seen no counters or anything from the opponent before. So I was like, well, don't need a Hunt Master. I'll play this Forest. Also, Courser and Sylvan Library. Just feels so good. Just so good. It's like drawing 2 extra cards. Ugh. It's perfect. Then I'm like, well, the mana dork's not doing anything anyway, so I was like, it kind of sucks if you get busted, go down a creature. I was like, well, we'll try natural order, because I'm pretty sure they're going to do stupid things, and I didn't have 2 mountains to play. Play and activate sneak attack. So I'm like, well, obviously, I just get Terrastodon. I was like, I'm going to get rid of one of these boxes with Nahiri, so I'll get rid of the other, and Lava Claw Reaches, and because I have Nahiri, I don't need my planes anymore. This is probably one of the better splits, so get rid of 2 of your opponent's things. I did get rid of the island instead of the Mox. Getting rid of their lands, figure I can get rid of both of these, and then cut them off of blue, which is one of their more important colors. And so, but with Terrastodon, usually want to go like a 2-1, because then you come out ahead, because you get a 9/9 and a 3/3. Opponent gets 2 3/3s. So this is usually the preferred split. You don't really want to go 3 and 0. Sometimes you want to go just 1 really troublesome, and then 2 of yours if you're being more aggressive. But the 2/1 is pretty good. They play Anticipate. I'm like, oh, they're gonna. It's like they're gonna flip Thing in the Ice next turn. They Anticipate. I get rid of their things. It's like if they flip Thing in the Ice, it's kind of bad for me. I was like, I'll take them off of blue, which shuts off cantrips and different things. So I was like, I don't think they'll be able to flip Thing in the Ice. If they can, it's kind of not great for me. But I'll get by, I suppose. They do have a blue source, but they have nothing to play. So I'm thinking, alright, now I should be in the clear. Then we get Arid Mesa. I'm like, perfect. Second red source. And a Mox Pearl. Now I'm thinking, please don't counter this. Sneak attack. I'm like, alright. Leave it on defense, because the Sundering Titan can block the Awoken Horror. Pardon me again. When Thing in the Ice transforms, and I was like, then I don't really have to worry about it. It's like, I don't really want to run it out there, do some shenanigans. Sundering Titan doesn't really get through. It's like, I'd rather just kind of sit behind my wall of stuff. Aside from with Terrastodon and poke stuff at it. Opponent blocks with an elephant. Plays another island. Draw a couple cards, and I'm like, oh, Emrakul. So like I could take 8 this turn, tick up Nahiri to get Emrakul, and then play Emrakul this time. I'm like, no, like that could go wrong in a lot of ways, and I'm not in a hurry. Like, I'm attacking with a 9/9. Opponent's not doing anything. I was like, I'll get my value. I'll get my value while I got it. I won't get greedy. Attack with a 9/9. Opponent blocks again. And does nothing. I'm like, alright. Now, I'll Master the Fells, play the Mountain. Thinking, okay, now Emrakul plus Terrastodon. I was like, this is probably game. Like, it probably would have been game last turn, but it's like if they have, like, Stifle, just something. Like, something weird. And lose 8 life. I was like, that's just a lot. I was like, wait a turn. Emrakul, protection from colored spells. So it can't be targeted while a spell's on the stack. However, opponent plays Venser. And returns Emrakul to my hand. So, unfortunately, Emrakul's Annihilator trigger still occurs, and if opponent does this before combat, I have another red, so I simply re-put Emrakul into play. So now opponent's got to sack all their things. They take 12, and then pretty much he said GG's, and then lets me just play it out. And boom, that is the match. And so 3-0 in the league. Pretty exciting anyway, but the deck was super, super sweet. I hope you guys enjoyed kind of watching it in this way. The going back over is pretty cool, but I had fun. I had a lot of fun drafting and building the deck, and playing it went really, really well. So probably do a live, or record as I draft and play the games with the Vintage Cube soon. But I do like going back and being able to highlight and talk about some of these things after they occur as well. But thanks for watching. Dr. Panda out. I'll catch you guys next time.